In 1966, the Aberfan mine disaster occurred. More than 2,000 police officers, firefighters, civil defense workers, and volunteers dug a 45-foot-long tunnel in the slag to search for survivors and bodies. The miners who once dug coal now dig their colleagues and their own children. At that time, no one in the entire British royal family responded quickly except the Queen's assistant secretary.
What kind of response?
A statement of condolence. I've taken the liberty of doing a quick draft.
May I?
Of course.
And the first person to arrive at the scene was Princess Margaret's husband. He loved photography and had no time to raise his camera at this moment. The sadness and despair at the scene were enough to make people speechless. The day after the incident, Prime Minister Wilson visited Queen Elizabeth and hoped that she would go to the disaster area to comfort the people.
We'll comfort people.
Put on a show. The Crown doesn't do that.
In Queen Elizabeth's mind, such an act of comforting the people was a show and did not meet the requirements of the royal family. So there was no response from the royal family for a week after the incident.
13 years in opposition, and now we're finally in power, in government. We cannot allow ourselves to be crucified on the altar of public opinion over something that isn't our fault.
This major incident that broke out during the Labour Party's term is undoubtedly the most powerful weapon for the opposition party to criticize the ruling party. And it is also a huge political capital for itself. On the sixth day after the mine disaster, Prince Philip, who originally planned to go duck hunting, changed his plan and went to Aberfan to comfort the victims. There he attended the memorial ceremony and heard the songs of the Aberfan people commemorating the deceased.
One person has been conspicuously absent from Aberfan, and that is our Queen. The scandalous lack of care and interest, one can only assume it is that, by our head of state, is symptomatic of a lack of care from the traditional establishment, not just for the people of Wales, but for the whole working class.
On the eighth day after the mine disaster, finally, here comes the real show.
I dabbed a bone-dry eye, and by some miracle, no one noticed.
Yet after seeing off the Prime Minister, she sat alone in the house and listened to the recording of the Welsh people singing in memory of the victims, and tears flowed from the corners of her eyes. In fact, she only visited the small town of Aberfan again in 1973 and 1997.